Let's make tagliatelle al ragù. I'm using thick cut bacon instead of pancetta. When I can't find the pancetta that I want in the quality that I want, I use thick sliced bacon. And we're doing 5 ounces. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're using 1.5 pounds of lean ground beef and 8 ounces of pork sausage. I'm gonna season our pan with Italian olive oil and get that nice and hot. Oh, the smell of that bacon is really coming through now. Now you're gonna let this brown so it gets a nice color to it and it won't remain pale. The pancetta is nice and browned now. We've got a nice caramelized color. I'm gonna go ahead and add the beef and the pork sausage. Make sure you break it up well before it really starts to cook. You'll wanna cook this on medium-high to high heat to ensure that you get some nice browning on here. You want to seal in the juices of the meat. You don't want it to boil. All right, our meat's about halfway cooked here now. It's also good to note that if you don't want to use pork sausage or pork at all, you can just use 2 pounds of the lean ground beef. Now that our meat is browned, I'm going to go ahead and season it with some salt. All right, we're ready to pull this beef off and cook our sofrito. We're using half a large onion. I'm using a yellow onion for this, 1 large celery stalk, and 1 large carrot. You want to chop everything into a dice. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to cook for about 2 to 3 hours, so everything is going to get very soft. But you still kind of want to have it in a small dice so that it doesn't stand out from the beef too much. I'm going to add a little bit of this jus and oil from the beef. You want to stir these vegetables and you want to let them cook on a medium-high heat. Here we're sautéing and sweating the vegetables. We're softening them a little bit and just getting them a little bit more tender for when we add in our meat again. I'm actually going to add a little bit of garlic as well. You want to add this garlic about 3/4 of the way through cooking the sofrito because the garlic cooks faster. You don't want it to brown or get bitter. All right, you just want to cook that until you smell the garlic. It becomes fragrant, and then we're going to go ahead and add that meat back. Give that a nice stir. I'm using a red wine for this dish. It's a Sangiovese. However, you don't have to use wine at all if you don't want to. You can even use a white wine. I prefer to use a red wine because I like the flavor that it gives it. And I'm using about 1.5 cups. You want a good bit of an amount so that we can reduce the wine and the alcohol content, but it still keeps that beautiful flavor that you're looking for. Okay, we'll let that simmer for a few minutes so the alcohol can evaporate. While our wine is reducing, I'm gonna crush up these tomatoes. These are peeled San Marzano tomatoes. I'm just gonna crush them with my hand. Your fingers are the best tools. So you wanna crush these up nicely. I didn't buy them pre-crushed because I kind of wanted this rough, rustic texture to it. But you can buy them as crushed canned tomatoes as well. All right, let's go ahead and add this crushed tomato. Give it a nice stir. Our next ingredient is going to be 1/2 cup of milk. I'm using whole milk. This is what's going to tenderize our meat. It's almost like a secret ingredient. Adding the milk while it's simmering over the next 2 hours is gonna tenderize the meat while it cooks. Last ingredient going in right before we simmer is our broth. I'm just adding enough to cover the meat. I'd say like 24 ounces. Give that a light stir and we're gonna close with a tight lid and lower the temperature to low. While our ragu is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and make our pasta. I'm using 100 grams of double O flour for each egg used. So I've got 300 grams here, and I'm using 3 eggs. You want to whisk in your eggs while slowly incorporating the flour. This will start to form a soft paste dough for you. Once you've got a lot of that egg incorporated in there, you want to start folding in your flour until you have a nice dough that you can start to knead. Now we've got our flour and our egg fully incorporated, so we're gonna knead this dough for about 10 minutes until we get a smooth elastic dough ball. If you notice that your dough is a little dry, you can always add a couple drops of water to add some moisture to it. When you knead, you want to fold the dough over and push down with the palm of your hand. Give it a quarter turn and you do the same thing again. You're going to store it in a Ziploc or you can wrap it in plastic wrap. Just make sure it's nice and covered. I've let my pasta dough rest for 30 minutes. You want to start from the middle and work your way out to the sides. Checking if it's ready. It looks translucent. I can see the color of my hand under the dough. I'm gonna roll it, give it a little flap test. There we go. You wanna hear that flapping sound to check to see if the dough is thin enough. So I'm happy with how this is right now. I'm gonna let it sit for about 10-20 minutes just so it can dry a little bit, then we'll fold it and cut it. I'm rolling it from both ends. I'm cutting about 1/2 inch thick. You want the noodles to be wide enough to catch the meat sauce. I'm gonna slide a chopstick under here and unfurl our pasta dough. The ragu's been cooking now for 2 hours. If you have excess oil, you can always skim it off. Once your pasta water starts to boil, you want to salt it well. Look for seawater flavor. Almost there. It's got good flavor. The salt has started to penetrate into the pasta dough. I'd say 1 more minute. The pasta's ready. I'm gonna reserve some of the pasta water in case I need it. Now it's time to add the ragu to your tagliatelle. Wow, excellent. I'm getting that flavor of that meat, the bacon, and you have the beef. That pork sausage adds a little bit of flavor. I had so much fun making this tagliatelle al ragù today with you guys. This is a recipe I absolutely love. It just brings back the most wonderful memories of spending a month in Bologna in the fall, and really just makes me so happy. If you guys make this recipe, let me know in the comments, and let me know your method if it's any different. I would love to hear. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this tagliatelle al ragù, and I'll see you all very soon.